Hey guys, it's Aaron from Mako-Desk. I'm a software engineer and I have about 25 years of experience. I've been in the game for a long time. Today, I would like to talk about the big elephant in the room, and that big elephant is AI. I'd like to answer the question, is AI going to take my software engineering job away? So it's not a simple yes or no question, but the good news is I feel like we've been here in some respects. We've had this same kind of thing confronting software engineers. And so let me tell you a story. I'll go way back in time. There was this technology that was called RAD, and it stood for Rapid Application Development. And it was a tool that it was basically an IDE. And for those who aren't familiar with what an IDE is, an IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. It's just basically like a text editor with lots of features that would help you develop software. But they developed this technology called RAD, and as soon as it hit, everyone was like, "Oh crap!" People who were doing UI manually suddenly felt like, "Oh no, my skills are now obsolete." It's way easy. You can drag and drop little UI components onto a canvas, wire up some events, and suddenly UI was just going to disappear and it was going to be obliterated. But what really happened was it just made things easier to develop, and it made projects that would have taken longer, it took less time, and so therefore you were able to get more products to market. And so what's happening is there's a lot of hysteria with AI. Granted, AI is not just a revolutionary step up, it's an evolutionary step up. Like we've lapped ourselves probably 40 times with the increase in what AI can do for us. And so, but what I'm here to tell you is what tends to happen is there's a lot of hysteria. Like I said, there's this fear of missing out. Companies are just falling all over themselves to get products and put that AI. We use AI, or we're taking advantage of artificial intelligence in our products now. We're going to make your company more productive, and that's kind of the key. Is what AI can do is make a business more productive. And when one company becomes more productive, guess what? Another company is also going to become more productive, and there's going to be a log jam of companies trying to get ahead. And so what I typically see happening is it's kind of, okay, here's an example. If you're familiar with the book and the movie Moneyball, it was this book slash movie that dealt with how small market baseball teams can get ahead, or how can they compete with these big markets who had deep pockets and could just basically buy a championship. What Moneyball did was it analyzed skills that were overlooked. And so what I'm trying to get at here is, so they used advanced analytics to understand how players may be undervalued, and they would acquire those players because they knew in order to win games, you had to score more runs than your opponent. And in order to score more, you just had to get base runners on base and move them towards home plate. Most teams at the time had these scouts that were trying to find players that could hit home runs because people loved hitting home runs. And it's still exciting today to see someone hit a home run, but that's not the most important part. The most important was getting base runners home. And so they found players who were good at getting walks. They found players who were good at getting on base. They found players that were just patient, and they found out ways to wear down the pitcher. So anyways, they took advantage of advanced analytics, and what happened was, for a number of years, the Oakland A's, who were using this Moneyball technique, were able to compete, and they got almost all the way to the world's, they almost got all the way. They stopped short. They didn't quite get past the big money team, but they were able to get very far and compete. But then guess what? All these other big market teams found out about it, and suddenly they all started using it. And today it's kind of saturated. Everyone's taking advantage of the most, all these advantages that they used to have. Now everyone's doing it. So what I see happening with AI is, yes, AI is going to make software engineering evolve, but what it's going to do as far as work goes is it's going to create more work to do. And I'll give you one more example. So a hospital I used to work at, we had one floor of engineers, and our job was to help doctors and help the health system improve the quality of healthcare by writing good software that would help doctors. And so my boss, he'd say, here's what we want to work on. Here's the requirements. We're working with doctors. We're gathering requirements and all this. But he said, you know what? This is just the highest priority project we have now. We have a backlog of dozens and dozens of projects that we'd like to get to. We just don't have the personnel to do it, and it's hard enough to hire you guys. It'd be really hard to ramp up, and that's not really what we are. Anyway, so my point is, there's a lot more work that people want to do than they have the capacity to do it. And so right now, we're seeing AI come into play, where the idea of AI is to make things more productive. That's one thing. And another way that I look at it, I think of AI, and I do vibe coding. I take advantage of AI as much as I can. Like, I don't like writing boilerplate code and like easy code that you just kind of have to write over and over again. I love to just give it to AI, and it just kind of generates a lot of code for me, and I can move on and deal with the business logic and the challenge at hand. But what I see is, like, say you had like a 10,000 piece puzzle, and what to me, that's kind of like the state of things, 5 years ago, before AI was mainstream, and you had to kind of put pieces together all together. But what I see is AI kind of comes there and it kind of clumps together 30 pieces at a time. And so you're not dealing with a 10,000 piece puzzle, you're dealing with clusters of 30 or clusters of 50 or bigger. And so but you still have to be able to put the pieces together. Software engineering is not just writing code. In fact, you could go all week and not write. You can write just a very little code. There's a lot of like integrations, dealing with security, dealing with, how are you going to get your thing into production? Are you doing virtualization? Cybersecurity is so huge. And if you're just asking AI to give me some cybersecurity code, you're going to get some code and you're going to just be like, well, what the heck is this? Unless you know what cybersecurity is and how the pieces fit together. So hang in there. AI is changing things, but like I said, I feel like it's just going to create more work for us to do. There's new jobs opening up for AI specialists. In fact, I just attended a Databricks conference where we had several experts in AI talk about the new technologies that they've applied to Databricks, and so things are evolving. But again, there's going to be a lot more work to do in the future, and so I will sign off with that. But anyways, again, I'm Aaron with Mako-Desk, and I'm going to go hit the waves. See ya.